What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Affirmative Talk Show. The story we have today, we're going to be talking about the prison guard, corrections officer, or prison guard who had mocked about the Buffalo shooting victims on his social media platform. This is something that is very serious, but before we get into depth of this situation, I want you to take a moment of your time and listen to this intro.
Hey, experience can't be bought. This the energy you want. Yeah, this affirmative talk. Hey, destined for greatness, that's for certain. Time to build your life with purpose. Build your self-esteem and courage. Right now, it's a lifestyle, that's for sure. Good vibes and meditation from a real life coach. Let them know. Affirmations help to make a better you. Got you feeling incredible. Affirmative talk, come on through, let's go.
All right, so on today's video, I'm going to be talking about the prison guard who was suspended and possibly will be terminated. He actually posted on his social media accounts mocking the Buffalo shooting victims that happened about a week ago, far as in the mass shooting. It's something that is very egregious, and it's something that definitely should be talked about because this is the hate that is in America today, and it is fostering and been going on for years and years. But it's just a shame when someone actually took to social media and actually bragging about what happened when you had innocent lives that were taken from this world. So without further ado, I have my man, my brother, who I believe I'm going to meet one day for sure, especially in radio broadcasting. His name is Dr. Rashad Riche. And definitely I had tagged him on my YouTube channel. So definitely I hope he gets opportunity to watch this. This is in honor of him. I definitely want to meet him one day. I definitely want to continue to grow in radio broadcasting and some type of partnership. So hopefully he watches this video and reached out to me. Because let me tell you something, when you don't talk out on your dreams and goals, what you want to happen, and guess what? It's a secret. And you never will grow that way if you keep things a secret. So you put it out in the atmosphere, and then you hope things will foster itself, and you believe by taking action every single day. So I actually tagged him because I'm going to be sharing this video. It's available on actual Facebook Watch. So the disclaimer is not my video. It is his video, but I want you to watch this video as he breaks down exactly what happened with this prison guard that mocks Buffalo shooting victims in his social media platform. So if you can hear the audio, just please just put in the comments and say, yes, you can hear it. It'll be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, here we go.
Sir, decided to mock the deadliest racially motivated massacre in the history of this country against Black people. Let's put up the graphic. Let's put up his Facebook post because I want to show you how insane this is. On May 14th, as you remember, a white supremacist, Peyton Gendron, fired 50 rounds outside and inside of Top Store, killing 10 people, injuring 3. 11 of the victims were Black. This guy thought it was funny. He's an officer, remember. He thought this was funny, so he posted a meme about it. His name is Greg Foster, and his Facebook post says, and I quote, "Too soon? Question mark. This should weed out some Facebook friends." Smiley face. And the picture says, "Clean up on aisle 3, no wait, 4, also 7, 9, 12, and 13. And then his Facebook friends, who obviously are also racist as hell, put the graphic back up for me. They decided to laugh at this, the greatest massacre, the most carnage ever created for a racially motivated crime in this country against Black folks. His friends are Chris Monin. Chris Monin thought it was funny. His other friend, Sarah Lukowski, Sarah thought it was funny. Lee Al thought it was funny. Brandon Houston thought it was funny.
Put the names out there.
Ken Tarbox thought it was funny. Ron Crane on Facebook thought this was funny. Let
Shame.
me be very clear. Not only is it not funny, it's adversarial to every ounce of decency. It is a complete opposite of humanity. It is depraved indifference. But this officer who has cheerleaders decided to post this racist and insensitive message. Let's put up another image of him in all of his Facebook glory, all right? And remember the mugshot of the killer, the terrorist, Peyton Gendron? All right? That's the face of terrorism in this country. He will not be called a terrorist by most because he's, in fact, a white male. A New York.
Now, listen to what he said. He has not been called terrorist to the majority of white folk because he's a white male. And this is what he's talking about, the disparity between if it was black person, a black male, even a black woman, it would be a totally different type of conversation. They would be called thugs. They would be called gangsters. They would be called animals. They would be called monsters. They would be called terrorists, all these things of above. But this is what he's talking about. And this is America.
The corrections officer is facing termination for posting a meme on Facebook mocking the Buffalo mass shooting victims. Greg Foster II has been suspended without pay after he posted a photograph of a Tops Friendly Market store with the caption, clean up on aisle 3, no wait 4, also 7, 9, 12, and 13. Too soon, question mark. This should weed out some Facebook friends. Foster wrote with a laughing emoji at the end of the sentence.
The audacity of this officer, the complete audacity to be a corrections officer and had the audacity to go on social media and say clean up on aisle 3, no wait 4, also on 7, 9, 12, and 13, and then said too soon. This should weed out some Facebook friends. Let me tell y'all something, man. This is the situation why when you have people that are white supremacists that are in roles of authority, they are in our judicial system. They're in the court system. They're in the lawmakers' offices, government officials. Let me tell you something. This is where they are hiding at, and they are making decision on a lot of black people's lives, and they are white supremacists. Make no mistake about that.
And these 7 people reacted with a laughing emoji before the post was removed. Screenshots of the post and the reactions have circulated on social media. Some are urging the public to file complaints to state correction officials. All right, so let's get some background here. The New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision said the despicable post does not represent the morals and values of its staff and violates multiple department rules. Foster will be fired, and the state agency has launched an investigation to identify and discipline any staff who may have engaged with the posting, officials said in a series of tweets on Tuesday, May 7th. Now remember, likely some of his colleagues also decided to say, yeah, this is funny. Black people dead, white supremacists killed them. Oh, yeah, this is absolutely funny. And remember, they work in law enforcement. Now, here's what needs to happen to the New York State Department of Corrections.
Say it, Dr. Rashad.
If you're serious about this being antithetical to the culture of your community and to your industry, then that means you will launch an investigation into this officer's conduct previous to this Facebook post. You will now take the complaints that he has had filed on him seriously previously. I guarantee you, this officer has a series of complaints. You will also make sure that you start a comprehensive program to eliminate those who are subscribers to white supremacy ideology.
He's bringing it out. He's creating solutions. And I've always said, you know, it's one thing to just talk about what's going on, but it's another thing to add value by having solutions. And that's what Dr. Rashad is doing. Go ahead, brother.
In your ranks because they are there. This officer does not exist in a silo. He's part of an actual ecosystem, a social dynamic, a cause and effect. You won't get away with just throwing him under the bus. He deserves to be there, but his friends do too.
Wow.
All right. Fair thoughts.
Wow. Wow. Come on, man. All I can say is wow. He put it right there out in the open, no filter, doesn't need a filter because it's the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, but it's the truth and it needs to be talked about. So definitely, man, you know, I'm going to talk about some of the solutions on what we can do as individuals to possibly minimize the mass shooting that is going on across this country. And some of these things I'm going to talk about them. One is access to guns with huge killing capacity. Now, I am a weapon holder. I am a concealed weapon holder. I also have guns myself, but at the same token, I am responsible. But at some way, in some shape or form, we have to start talking about, okay, what is some solutions that we can do to prevent people from having these big guns that has a lot of ammo that can create a huge killing capacity? Maybe we can cut off some of the access that people can get to these types of guns. Yes, military officials or military personnel, yes, need them for war, but do actually civilians need them? Throwing that out there. Number two, ineffectiveness of poorly funded mental health programs. Yes. Now, I'm of the mindset that there are people out here that just like to do hateful stuff. It's in their blood. They was brought up that way. But also that there are people that are fighting mental health conditions. And when you don't fund or make sure that we have good funding for mental health institutions, then how the people who do really need the help are going to get help. And if they don't get the help, they can cause harm not only to themselves, but to people around them. Stressing over a declining economy. There are a lot of people, I have talked about this in numerous of my videos. There are a lot of people right now that are struggling. There are a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck. There are a lot of people who have lost their homes. There are a lot of people who have been through some things in their life because of what's been going on through this pandemic. And I'm telling you, when you have people that are hurting financially, economically, guess what's going to happen? Pressure will eventually bust a pipe. They get short patient. They get stressed. No, it still should not give them the authority or the right to do harm to other people. But I'm telling you, this is what happens. This is what is a cause to a lot of things that's going on. Then, number 4, possible connection to media violence. Now, do I play video games? Yes. And do a lot of my video games, do I play things like Grand Theft Auto? Yes. But at the same token, it's video games. But to some people, they can be able to take those actions and put it in reality. Now, I'm kind of like in the middle of this because I feel that a person that's mature should know the difference between what's a video game and what's the reality of life. But there are some people that actually take things like this and playing a video game and try to do what's going on in the video game and do it in real life. Now, let's talk about the practical remedies to reduce mass killings. Standardize and enforce gun ownership laws across the country. Fund the federal government program to perform 100% background checks. Let me tell you something. There are some people that should not have access to GUNS. There are some people that should not have access to it, especially depending on what's going on their background check. Yeah, a lot of people may dislike this, but let me tell you something. Some people should not have access to guns. It's just that point blank and simple. But if you give them access, then that's a recipe for failure. That's a recipe for people to get hurt. If a person has any type of malicious activity on their background check, a history of violence, a history of not obeying the law, they should not be able to have access to a gun. And also, I'm of the mindset in some states, they should be able to have access to run if they have any type of mental disorder. And depending on the mentality of that person and what they have been treated for, they should not be able to have access to get a gun. Absolutely, I'm in agreement with that. Now, I know it may be hard to do and pass that, and especially in some states because of the HIPAA law, but at the same token, if you want to try to reduce the mass shootings that are going on in this country today, we have to start looking a little bit if they have any type of mental deficiency. If they have any type of domestic violence, and it depends on what type of domestic violence that they have been accused of and arrested of, then they don't need access to a valid weapon. Require private sellers to run background checks on potential purchasers. This is critical. Instead of the private sellers just worrying about the money, they should be able to run background checks because it is a lot of information that you can get when you run a background check. Ban the sale of semi-automatic weapons and magazines holding more than 10 bullets. Some may disagree with this situation. Some may say, because I own weapons. Some may say that, hey man, I don't know what may happen and what's coming up. I need to be ready for anything that may happen. I understand that. But at some token, we need to start creating solutions to stop these mass shootings from happening. Because right now, what we have in place is not working. Harden potential scenes of mass murders with restricted access and better security measures. I totally agree. Now, when you're talking about hardened potential scenes, it said this includes schools. Now, I believe that there should be better security measures without an absolute doubt. There should be security measures better. You need to have security guards in the front, security guards in the back, security guards probably in these exit areas. Our children definitely needs to be protected. Just like if you go to a federal building, how they are heavily guarded in these certain buildings and certain working buildings, environments definitely needs this type of security. Equalize the physical and mental health programs of the country. Let's read what it says in depth. We treat people when they are physically sick or injured, but neglect those with mental problems. That is the absolute truth. It is particularly important to institute strong programs in the schools so that kids at greater risk of turning into mass murderers, loners, the bullies, and outcasts will receive early help. teachers and school administrators should receive special training to assist with the identification of disinfected and isolated individuals who need help. I agree. Now, it says also tax television, movie, and video game producers for producing violent content. I'm on both sides with that. Because at the end of the day, as I said, it all depends on the individual. If the individual has a mental disorder, any type of mental deficiencies, they need to be definitely watched on what they consume on a consistent basis. But this is where it also needs to be put. They needs to make sure that they are being seen by a doctor, an expert in that field of mental disorder, treated, and it needs to be put and documented. But this is why I say when you run background checks, this type of information needs to be put out where you can have private sellers and then you can have gun sellers to be able to realize what type of history that this person has. And if it comes up that they have any type of mental disorder, it needs to be investigated on. It needs to be put on hold. Well, sir, ma'am, I cannot sell you a weapon because it's a red flag that came up in our system and it needs to be further investigated on before we're able to sell you any type of weapon that we have here at the store. Because I'm gonna tell you something. If you start doing this and start putting these laws in place, it's going to take effect and help the situation little bit by little bit. I'm a man of coming up with solutions. It's one thing to talk about the problems, but it's another thing that we need to put in proper strategies in place to reduce the risk of mass shootings to go on. Because as we know, with this mass shooting, we had a security guard that was there, but there was just one guard. And it did not equalize the situation. You had a person by the name of Peyton that was able to shoot the guard and able to go into the store, walk down these different aisles, and let loose on killing people. Let this be a lesson learned again. We have not learned our lesson with these mass shootings. For some strange reason, I know that there are billions and billions of dollars at stake, but we need to start making adjustments. I believe that you have the right to bear arms. I believe you have the right to protect your family. You have the right to protect yourself. That's one of the fundamental truths of protection. But it's how you do it. What Peyton did in that supermarket is not right. What this correction officer did by posting on social media and making fun, mocking the people that Peyton killed is not right. And something needs to be done about it. That correction officer, Greg Foster, and all those people, when he posted that on his social media that laughed at the situation, they need to be reprimanded. But this is how strong hate is. This is how strong when you have people out there that really hate Black people, hate minorities, if you do not have white skin. This needs to be talked about even more, but we need to continue to push forward in creating solutions. This is why I'm an advocate that you need to get out and vote in your local communities. You need to understand that who are making these laws in your state. What are their belief systems? Start educating yourself. What laws are they passing? What senators that's in your state that are passing certain laws? You need to understand, even know the names of a lot of these senators that's in your state. Understand the laws that they're passing for your school system, for your children. If you don't educate yourself, how can you make change? Once again, it's one thing to talk about what's going on. It's a totally different thing when you are taking action steps by getting yourself involved. And the number one thing that you can do that is vote. That's free. That don't even cost you anything. It don't cost you any money to vote. All you simply have to do is plan accordingly and set arrangements so you can go down to your voting registration building and vote. Because you have a voice. And you should and you will be heard. This concludes my message for today. Hope you understand the value that I'm bringing to you every single day. I'm committed to this. And Dr. Rashad Richie, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do on a daily basis. You are always a man of the people. You're a man that are making change on television, and you're making change every single day by taking actions. And brother, I definitely want to meet you face to face. It will be an honor. That's why I tag you. So until then, ladies and folks, y'all take care and be blessed from the Affirmative Talk Show.
Hey, experience can't be bought. This the energy you want. Yeah, this affirmative talk. Hey, destined for greatness, that's for certain. Time to build your life with purpose. Build your self-esteem and courage. Right now, it's a lifestyle, that's for sure. Good vibes and meditation from a real life coach. Let them know. Affirmations help to make a better you. Got you feeling incredible.